Hey everybody, how are we doing? Jessica Roble here at Earthlight Wellness for Life. Um, I just felt inspired to just jump on my phone real quick and just make a short video as I'm working on my e-newsletter. And I am focusing on a particular topic that I wanted to talk about that might be a little easier to just put together in a video right here, right now, and make it easier to share. This topic and this video today is more focused on what we're moving through day to day on a frequency based level and how things are occurring in our lives that don't always seem like what it is. If you're somebody who is on an ascension path, or maybe that word is you're not as familiar with, or you're on a healing journey, and maybe you might call it, you're walking a spiritual walk, anything like that is going to fit in with what I'm talking about here today. So if you're on that path where you're doing healing work and you're more spiritually aware and you're raising your consciousness and you're expanding your levels of consciousness and you're going through all this change and expansion, most people who consciously are doing this work will probably have more of a sense of what I'm kind of talking about here in this video. So as we move through day to day, we might have a day where everything kind of seems a little bit more normal, where we feel, when I say a little bit more normal, I guess I mean like you're feeling more like yourself. You're behaving more like yourself. You're thinking more like yourself. You recognize yourself as how you're showing up in your most usual way. And then we might have all these random sporadic days where that just doesn't seem to be the case. Things seem to be off. You're feeling not so good, or someone else is sick, or for some reason you just feel like you can't even hold yourself up in your own body that day. Or maybe you're having sporadic emotional reactions, or you're getting really short, or I'm trying to think, you could be having road rage on a particular day. These could be all things that you never normally like, and then all of a sudden one day you're having different sporadic, out of seemingly out of the blue, things kind of kicking up. And what's happening these days, we're all moving through, is it's more of a release, what's happening most of the time when these things are coming up right now, because between the solar flares, the geometric storms that are coming into the planet Earth from the sun, I'm trying to think, that stuff affects the storms and the earthquakes and the hurricanes and the planet too. But it's all energy frequency, if you want to think about it, that's coming, light frequency that's pouring down into the earth, and it's going down deep into the core of the earth. And all of that light, right, high frequency energy is pushing out all that dark dross energy that's buried deep into the earth, deep into the cells of our body, cellular memory in our body too, as well as the earth, because nothing is just affecting the earth. It's coming into the earth, pushing everything up, up, up to the surface, to come up, to be released, like that. So what's happening to the earth is happening to us as well. And most commonly, I can tell you that from all the solar storms, solar flares, geometric storms, things like that, those are facilitating this stuff to happen naturally. So that's one way that it happens, and then this happens in other ways as well. There are lots of other things that are cosmically happening that are pouring light frequencies into our planet that are facilitating more deep release of deep cellular memory stored in our bodies, in our cells, in our DNA, and in the earth, and all of that to come up and off of us, to be released, so that we can release that darkness more deeply, and in turn we become more light. We can embody more light. So it's hard to distinguish when this is actually happening, which is where this topic comes up. So about a week ago, I'm guesstimating it's been about a week, I had an experience one day myself. And I just kind of went through this whole spiel to explain that so that I can tell you, okay, here was a day that I had a day where everything was completely not the normal for me. Everything in my body was hurting, from my head to my toes. I was irritable. I was short. I could barely stand up all day. It was like things that just kept pulling at me, asking me for help, yada, yada, yada. And all the while, I could not just stop to tend to myself. I could not hold myself up. I was getting very short, very irritable. And by the end of the night, I'd snapped. I just couldn't handle it anymore of the pressure and what was going on in me. And I didn't understand why it was happening. And then I fast forwarded to, I went to bed. I had this strange dream. And in the dream, I remember at one point, so my little dog Max, he's about 10 pounds. Some of you have met Max. He was in my dream. And we were standing at a door that was to the outside. It was like a screen door. And I think we were walking through it. And then all of a sudden I turned and I look and I see this big tiger. What was interesting is the tiger was black and white stripes. So I thought, okay, that must maybe symbolizes the balance between light and dark, the yin and yang. And the tiger seemed very scary, very intimidating, and very threatening. I felt that from the tiger, and it came running towards me and Max, and it tried to swoop with his paw and grab Max from my arms. And I remember in the dream, I pulled him in, and I went in the door, and I shut the door really fast, and I was panicked, and I was like, oh my God. And then afterwards, in the dream, I was frantically going over to somebody to try to explain what had just happened. And rather than that person listening, that person went into this channeling state and began to channel these words out. And to the effect of the words that were coming through this male in the dream, it was saying, everything is just coming up to be released. It is just coming up to be released. It's all just coming up to be released. And I heard the message, and I'm like, okay. And later I woke up from the dream, and I remember reflecting, and the dream was coming back to me. And I sat with it, and I'm like, okay, so that which whom was speaking through the gentleman in my dreams sounded like my guides, because when I hear my guides speak in my dreams, I know their voice or their tone. I've learned that. And I had to sit, and I had to actually think about what was being expressed, because nothing happens, or I should say everything happens for a reason. So this is where, being on a spiritual journey, we have to step back and we have to absolutely actually observe what is coming up around us. What does it mean? What is it trying to say or share? And try to break down the message and actually take it in and not just dismiss it, And this was one of those things. And so my guides came through, and they let me know that everything I was experiencing, and I knew it had to do with the day before, everything that I was feeling, I could barely stand. I was under so much pressure. I was in agony. I couldn't take it anymore. I was ready to break. It was all coming up to be released. It was all cellular memories that was coming up to be released. And in the dream, that was an extension of it. What was happening in my dream that night was an extension of it. So as you're moving through day to day, a lot of people I talk to regularly are expressing that they're noticing things are happening that are not the way they've been, or things have seemed a bit extreme, or there's been really unusual circumstances and people are trying to make sense of what's going on. And so through my experiences, I'm trying to bring that forward and share that so that I can help bring these messages forward to help other people who are going through this to make sense and gain the clarity to understand what you're going through. So this is one of those examples where it is not always clear that you're releasing cellular memory, that this is part of a spiritual cleansing process that we're all going through here on the earth. It could just feel like any other thing, or you know what I mean, like there's something flaring up or something's provoking you or whatever it could be. So if within the last week or two you've been feeling this way, I hope this message reaches you well and it gives you maybe some level of relief. Maybe not, can't give you all the relief that you may be searching for. We're all going through pieces, layers of stuff, but just know that there's so much more happening that we're experiencing day to day that actually is about what we're releasing. And just say, okay, thank you for coming up. Thank you for, I thank my body for letting go of that. It's no longer in me and it's no longer there to cause disharmony within me. So I can feel that much closer to complete harmony, to complete balance from within, which is that much, that one step closer to what I'm striving for, so that my whole life can come into perfect divine alignment. So I hope that this video explains a little bit better for some people who need that understanding right now, what you might be going through day to day when it is, when it's not making much sense, and all of a sudden you're having this out of the blue day where everything seems to be flaring up and you're not feeling like your normal self, and maybe your emotions are, on the rise, or your anger is on the rise, or somebody else is. It's a good time to just step back, take a breath, and just really give yourself self-care that you need. Maybe take a hot Epsom salt bath to help release more of that stuff in your body. That salt is great. Epsom salt baths are wonderful for this work. So I'll leave you with that, and I'm gonna post this video, and then I'm gonna put it out so that people can continue to watch this video and find it as you need these little answers or these little cues that help you to make sense of what these day-to-day, circumstances could be actually revealing or releasing. So hopefully I've done a good job at explaining that for you today. I am getting more into the flow of working on bringing more insights and more wisdom and more of what I am receiving day to day forward, so that you can also receive. So this was a divine message that my guides brought through to me, but it's always something for me to share with you too. So hopefully this has made a little bit of sense, and if it hasn't, you can always feel free to comment below this video and let me know any further questions you have, and I will do my best to bring more clarity forward. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that this has been helpful. Bye for now.